a lot of people really suffer from perfectionism, and I think companies do too. And to my mind, it's always just fear, right? You're not actually a perfectionist, you're just scared, right? And of course, we all know in Europe, there's some cultures who are even more perfectionist, even more scared of things. And so this might be an interesting fact. So if you develop new products, of course, you want to have a perfect product that you put out there, and it has to work perfectly, especially in certain industries, right? I'm not saying in medical devices, deploy something to the customer that's not really safe. Of course, I'm not saying that. However, there's also this tendency of a lot of companies to not ship early enough, right? They try to perfect it, and then another company, maybe from the US or China, has thrown out a product onto the marketplace that is only half as good, that is much less safe, that is much less polished, and suddenly they take the market by storm, whereas we had a much better solution. Alipay is from China and is a payment system. So imagine it being a little bit like PayPal, just much, much more influential and bigger. And so it's something that people use every day to pay for services everywhere. And I recently stumbled on something that I found so interesting. When this Alipay was first launched, there was actually no real product in the back end there. There was no banking adequate software in the background with all the safeguards that we would expect. It was actually 3 engineers with an Excel sheet, right? And so every evening they tried to reconcile all the money that was being sent through the system. And of course, over time, they invested in making this a very, very stable, secure, and good system that is handling, I can just guess, what is billions of transactions every day. It's really massive, massive. But it's okay to start it out simple if you're willing, capable, and able to then scale it up in the background, right? And yes, you can run some risk there if the product really takes off. Maybe you're not able to scale it as quickly. But please, people, let's stop overbuilding products when we don't even know if they'll work, right? It's enough to dedicate 3 engineers and an Excel sheet to something and start building it up. And then when we see it actually has traction, then we massively invest into the systems. Again, we're not talking about pharma, we're not talking medical devices and something like this, where safety is really at a premium and really necessary. But let's please not be this perfectionist all the time, because it'll keep us from being fast enough, and then the Chinese and the Americans eat our lunch.